Welcome back, everyone, to our deep dive into the digital landscape.
Great to be back.
Today, we're zooming in on a place we've touched on before, and honestly, one that sparked a lot of interest from you all, the social media scene in the UAE.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually our fourth deep dive connected to this whole digital diaspora theme, and we're really excited to unpack what's going on right now in the Emirates.
Yeah, it's a fascinating region for this topic.
And if you did catch our earlier discussions and maybe have some questions still floating around, please, drop them in the comments. Your curiosity really does shape these dives.
Absolutely. So our plan today really is to give you a clear but also pretty comprehensive picture of social media in the UAE.
Right.
We'll look at the big trends, the key usage numbers, and what it all means for anyone trying to get a handle on this really dynamic environment.
And we're focusing mainly on the current year, using recent 2024 data, but we'll also pull in some info from past years just to give that sense of direction, the trajectory.
Exactly. We want to offer those valuable insights without just, drowning everyone in statistics.
Okay, so let's dive right in. The UAE. It's often called the social media capital of the world.
You hear that a lot, yeah.
And when you look at the numbers, I mean, it's kind of hard to argue, isn't it? You've got this really young, digitally native population.
Very tech savvy.
And smartphone ownership. It's just through the roof. It really creates this perfect storm for social media to explode.
And what's really striking is the penetration level. So as of January 2024, internet access hit 99%. That's about 10.14 million people.
Wow. Basically everyone.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But here's the kicker. Social media user identities actually went over the total population, 112.30%.
Wait, over 100%? How does that work?
It means people have multiple accounts.
Whoa.
So 11.50 million identities. It tells you something significant, right?
Yeah.
People aren't just on one platform.
They're everywhere online.
Exactly. They're actively using several. It points to this really deeply embedded digital culture where having, multiple online presences is just normal.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's not just about being online, it's about being socially online across different spaces. And the growth curve over the last decade, just wow.
It's incredible.
Back in 2015, we were looking at maybe 5.4 million social media users.
They're real net, yeah.
By 2024, that number had more than doubled, almost tripled, actually.
And we saw some really big jumps between 2016 and 2017. Went from 6.3 million up to 9.2 million. That's huge acceleration.
That's massive growth in just 1 year. What do you think was behind that particular surge?
Well, that rapid increase really shows how quickly the digital infrastructure and just access expanded then.
Okay.
And probably also a growing awareness of what social media could offer, personally and professionally. It wasn't just a slow creep. It was a major shift in how people connect and get information.
And it's not just how many people are using it, but how much time they're spending.
Right, the engagement factor.
In 2024, the average daily internet use in the UAE is over 8 hours. 8.
That's a significant chunk of the day.
And almost 3 of those hours, 2 hours, 58 minutes to be exact, are purely on social media.
Which is actually up slightly from 2023. Internet time overall went up, and social media time specifically went up from about 2 hours, 50 minutes.
So people are spending even more time online and on social platforms than before. What does that signal to you?
It just underlines how deeply integrated social media is becoming in daily life there. It's less of a side activity, more like a central hub, communication, news, entertainment.
Everything.
Pretty much. And that obviously has big implications for businesses trying to reach people because that's where the attention is focused.
Okay, so which platforms are the real heavy hitters in the UAE right now in 2024?
Well, leading the pack is WhatsApp, almost 86% usage.
86%.
Yeah, that's about 5.66 million active users. It's the go-to, probably because of the encryption. Yeah, good for personal chats, but also professional stuff.
And businesses use it too.
Oh, absolutely. For marketing, customer service, even internal comms. And here's an interesting bit. It's also the most popular, like the favorite platform.
Really? More than others?
Yep, about 26% of users say it's their number one. Probably down to the simple interface. Plus, they have that payment feature now, which adds convenience.
That direct messaging aspect seems key, doesn't it? That privacy.
Definitely. That preference for WhatsApp really speaks volumes about how much people there value that direct, private communication, being the most used and the favorite. That shows real satisfaction and reliance.
Okay, so who's next?
Right behind WhatsApp is Facebook, just over 80% usage.
Still huge.
About 5.29 million users. It's got everything friends, family, brands, groups, plus those analytics tools for businesses.
And is it a favorite, too?
It's the second most popular, actually. About 19% pick it as their favorite, likely because of its broad reach and those very sophisticated targeting options for ads.
And here's a crazy stat I saw. Users spend the most time on Facebook, almost 30 hours a month.
Yeah, nearly 30 hours. That's a lot of scrolling.
It is. What does that suggest, even if it's not everyone's absolute favorite?
It suggests maybe a deeper level of engagement, or perhaps just a wider variety of things people do there. Maybe specific interactions happen elsewhere, but Facebook is still that central place for a broader range of online stuff.
And the business tools are a big draw, too, I bet. Measurable results.
Definitely a major factor for businesses.
Okay, so hot on Facebook's heels, Instagram.
Exactly.
Huh.
Also, just over 80% usage, 5.28 million users.
Yeah.
So very close.
Wow, neck and neck.
And it's the second most popular favorite platform, too, slightly edging out Facebook at about 20.4%. It really pulls in a diverse crowd with all the visual content.
Yeah, the visual element is powerful.
And like Facebook, it's huge for targeted advertising. That visual focus just seems to work globally, doesn't it? Quick emotional communication through images and video.
Totally. Then there's the phenomenon that is TikTok.
Ah, yes. TikTok. Incredible growth. It's reached almost 72% of users now.
72%. That's 4.73 million active users. Especially big with the younger crowd, right?
Very much so. It's also the fourth most popular favorite. About 15.5% call it their top pick.
And the time spent.
Get this. Second highest time spent. Over 27 hours a month.
27 hours, just behind Facebook.
Makes it absolutely critical for brands trying to reach young people with those short, snappy videos.
What's the magic formula there? The short videos? The algorithm?
It's likely a combination. The short-form format fits attention spans, it's easily digestible entertainment, and yeah, that discovery algorithm is incredibly good at keeping you hooked. It's just a powerful mix, especially for younger users wanting that constant, dynamic content.
Okay, shifting gears a bit.
Yeah.
What about the professional side? LinkedIn.
Still the leader there. Almost 53% usage, about 3.5 million users.
So, still significant usage.
Definitely essential for B2B, for careers. But interestingly, a much smaller group calls it their favorite, only about 2.7%.
Makes sense. It's functional.
Exactly. And users spend the least time there compared to the others, just over an hour a month. Which fits, given its professional focus.
It really highlights how different platforms meet different needs, doesn't it?
It does. LinkedIn's role just underscores that specialization. Not for any word like the others, but indispensable for specific.
Snapchat.
Snapchat's still popular, especially for its impact. Reaches over 40% of users. But it's lower down the favorite. Time spent is also lower. It seems to have found its niche, maybe because of the number of features that they've Mostly consistency of WhatsApp was already down. Facebook and Instagram usage also increased. And TikTok's rise to
I know all those are
recently better. Platforms kind of
Were they the same top three back then?
WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook are the top three favorites. The exact percentages might be a little bit here. Preferences seem pretty similar. It suggests strong user habits. These platforms get deeply baked into the daily routine of social structures. It's a lot to shift. Plus, they keep adding features to stay relevant.
We should also quickly mention Messenger apps. Because they're huge.
WhatsApp is consistently metabolizing massive and interestingly, TikTok is showing up more as a massive.
DM on TikTok.
Yeah, millions are using it. It shows how
So, with all this usage, all this great stuff, what are the main reasons people really
cited by over half friends and family.
That feels pretty universal, doesn't it? Basic human connection.
It really is. Social media just makes it easier, especially across distances. It's the modern social fabric.
What's the second biggest reason?
Just filling spare time? Over a third of users, 35.8%, say that's a key reason. It's the go-to for downtime scrolling.
Guilty as charged. What else?
Following sports is surprisingly high up there, 34.2%. Then reading news, 32.8%.
So it's connection, boredom busting, interests, and information.
Exactly. It shows how multifaceted these platforms have become. Not just social, but entertainment, news.
And looking further down the list, seeing what's being talked about, finding articles or videos, networking.
Yep, finding inspiration for things to do or buy, actually finding products to purchase, making new contacts.
Wow, it covers almost everything. Work, shopping, inspiration, news, social life.
It's become this sort of digital town square, hasn't it? A primary source for almost everything.
And have these reasons stayed consistent over time? Like, was keeping in touch always number one?
Pretty much.
Hmm.
Checking back to 2022, 2023 data, staying connected with loved ones was consistently the top driver.
That really underlines the core function, doesn't it?
It does. Trends and platforms might change, features evolve, but that basic human need for connection, that remains the anchor for social media use.
Okay, let's switch gears to marketing. How are businesses actually using all this social media activity in the UAE? What strategies are working well?
Well, one massive trend is short-form video. It's just exploding.
TikTok, Reels, Shorts.
Exactly. Brands are realizing they can grab attention really fast with these short visual clips. We see big retailers like Carrefour UAE using Instagram Reels for promos, recipes, lifestyle tips, really snackable content.
That makes total sense, especially given TikTok's insane reach there. I saw a stat about it reaching over 118% of the 18-plus population.
Yeah, the reach figures are staggering. It presents this huge opportunity for e-commerce, for brands to go viral, build dynamic connections, especially with younger users.
So video is key. What else?
Another absolutely critical piece is understanding the local culture. You can't just run a global campaign and expect it to land perfectly in the UAE.
Right. Need that local sensitivity.
Absolutely. Respecting traditions, values, but also tapping into modern trends. Things like Ramadan are huge engagement periods, obviously. You see brands like, say, Etihad Airways creating content around local events, cultural celebrations. That resonates.
And given the smartphone stats we talked about, mobile optimization must be baseline, right?
Non-negotiable. Near total smartphone ownership means your content, your ads, your website, everything has to work flawlessly on mobile. Think about places like Dubai, Helm, their app, their mobile content, it's all optimized.
Okay, and what about just talking to people? Engagement.
It's still vital, maybe more vital than ever. It's not just broadcasting. It's building a community, replying to comments, answering questions, being part of the conversation that builds real trust and loyalty.
Now, I saw some interesting research looking specifically at how social media marketing affects buying decisions in the UAE, especially in the fast food sector.
Yeah, that study had some useful takeaways on what actually moves the needle.
So they looked at things like how informative the content is, how relevant, interactive, entertaining, and how that links to purchase decisions. And they found that being informative and interactive definitely had a positive impact on whether people bought something, which kind of makes sense, right? Get good info, engage with the brand.
Exactly. Useful information, opportunities for dialogue that builds trust, gets people interested, leads towards a purchase. Interestingly, though, while we often think entertainment is king on social,
Yeah.
that study found its direct impact on immediate purchase decisions, at least for fast food,
Right.
wasn't that significant. It did help build brand trust over time, though.
So entertainment builds trust, which then might lead to a purchase later.
Potentially, yes. But the trust factor itself seems really key. The research showed trust directly influences purchase decisions, and it strengthens the link between informative interactive content and buying.
So building trust through social media is crucial for sales.
Absolutely fundamental. When consumers trust you, they listen more, they're more likely to buy.
But there was one twist, right? With relevance?
Yes. When the content was seen as highly relevant to the individual, it had a direct positive impact on the purchase decision. And trust didn't seem to mediate that link as much.
Meaning if it hits home immediately, people might just buy directly.
It suggests that, yeah, if the content feels personally relevant, addressing a specific need or interest right now, it cuts through and can drive a purchase more immediately.
Okay, so if you were advising a marketer in the UAE based on this, what are the key takeaways?
I'd say, 1, focus on informative and interactive content to build that crucial brand trust. Trust drives sales. 2, while entertainment is good for building trust long-term, Don't expect it to drive immediate sales directly, necessarily. And 3, critically, make your content highly relevant to your audience that can have a powerful, direct impact on buying behavior.
Makes sense. So looking ahead now, what's the future of social media look like in the UAE? It feels like it's always changing.
Well, we can definitely expect more growth. Social media's influence on, social life, the economy, even politics in the UAE isn't going away. It's only going to expand.
And as an advertising channel.
It's already a primary platform, and that will likely solidify further. Brands have to be there. The rise of influencers is also a huge factor that shows no sign of stopping.
Yeah, influencers seem massive there.
Huge portion of residents follow them. They really shape opinions, drive trends. Brands are investing heavily in those partnerships across all sorts of sectors.
Any other emerging trends we should watch? You mentioned maybe VRR earlier.
Yeah, things we talked about back in 2022 are still relevant now and probably growing. TikTok's continuing to rise. More e-commerce integration within the platform is an absolute necessity.
The need for real engagement.
And yes, longer term, things like VR and AR, they still hold potential for creating it's still early days for mass adoption. Definitely something.
So it's clear, isn't it? The social media scene is really incredibly vibrant.
From these platforms, understanding these dynamics.
We covered a ton today. Thank you for these stats and research.
And hopefully showing that it's not just about how popular, graphing the
And all those are distributed at the gallery. Yeah. You have to see the land on the water.
Ooh, that's a good one. AI's impact.
It's definitely something more.
A fascinating thought. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the Deep Dive. Really encouraging to keep exploring this topic. Share any more questions or insights